She was the president's daughter, and her marriage had already been decided. But everything changed the night she fell in love with a foreign advisor her country wasn't supposed to trust. The Republic of Oreston was a nation built on power. Foreign investors came for contracts. Foreign productions came for controlled documentaries. Foreign diplomats came for strategic alliances. But no one ever came for love. Inside the presidential palace, everything was calculated, every handshake, every smile, every headline. And that was exactly what Aliyah Rahman hated. She stood on the palace balcony overlooking the capital city, the lights glowing beneath her like a world she wasn't allowed to fully live in. As the president's daughter, her life had never been her own. Even her future had already been negotiated. An engagement to a powerful businessman, meant to secure economic stability. It wasn't a relationship. It was a transaction. The same week her engagement was being quietly finalized. A foreign delegation arrived from London to discuss production investments and diplomatic partnerships. Among them was Adam Laron. He wasn't the loudest man in the room. He didn't compete for attention. While others talked about numbers and influence, Adam observed, listened, measured his words carefully. At the formal state dinner that evening, the ballroom glittered under crystal chandeliers. Cameras flashed. Diplomats toasted to international cooperation. The atmosphere was polished, rehearsed. And then it happened. Across the room, Adam looked up. Aliyah was already looking at him. It wasn't dramatic. No music stopped. No one noticed. But something shifted. Later that night, Aliyah escaped to the palace gardens for air. The pressure of expectation felt heavier than the jeweled necklace around her neck. Footsteps approached on the stone path. Not a fan of political theater. Adam's calm voice asked. She glanced at him, slightly amused. I prefer honesty. He nodded. That's rare in rooms like that. They began walking slowly beneath the lantern lights. At first, they spoke about harmless things, the differences between London rain and Oreston heat, cultural traditions, food, travel. But honesty has a way of opening doors. Does it ever bother you? Adam asked quietly. That people expect you to represent something instead of just being yourself. Aliyah let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. Every day. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not as the president's daughter, not as a political symbol, but as a person. Over the next few days, official meetings stretched longer than necessary. Production contracts were reviewed. Economic forecasts were discussed. But stolen glances became conversations. Conversations became connection. Adam admired her strength beneath the pressure. Aliyah admired his steadiness in a world obsessed with dominance. This wasn't reckless infatuation. It was understanding. And that made it dangerous. Security cameras in the palace recorded their late-night walks. Palace advisors began whispering. Within a week, the footage reached President Rahman's desk. He was not a cruel man, but he was a cautious one. This is not a romantic drama, he told his daughter firmly. This is national stability. Is stability worth sacrificing happiness? Aliyah asked. The question lingered in the air long after she left the room. Soon, rumors leaked to the press. President's daughter in foreign relationship. Security risk or modern diplomacy. The businessman she was meant to marry threatened to withdraw major investments. Economic partners began hesitating. Foreign production agreements stalled. Adam felt the weight of it immediately. I can leave, he told her one evening in the garden. Your country shouldn't suffer because of me. Aliyah looked at him steadily. Why is love always treated like a threat? The pressure intensified. Political advisors urged the president to make a public announcement confirming the engagement, control the narrative, restore confidence. A national address was scheduled. The entire country tuned in. Inside the Grand Hall, cameras rolled. Ministers sat rigidly. Foreign representatives watched carefully. President Rahman stepped to the podium. He spoke about economic growth, international partnerships, the strength of the Republic. Then he paused. His gaze shifted to his daughter standing along the side of the hall. A nation that fears personal freedom, he said slowly, cannot truly call itself strong. A quiet murmur rippled through the audience. For years, we have built stability through control. Today, I choose trust. Gasps echoed softly. My daughter will decide her own future. Silence. Aaliyah felt every camera turn toward her. This was no longer a private decision. This was history. She walked forward, her heartbeat steady despite the weight of expectation. Adam stood across the room, prepared to accept whatever she chose. She stopped in front of him. I will not choose power over peace, she said clearly. I will not choose strategy over sincerity. I choose respect. I choose partnership. I choose love. Adam reached for her hand. And in that single moment, the narrative shifted. Headlines the next morning were different. Republic embraces modern values. President supports daughter's choice. Foreign love signals new era. Investors did not withdraw. Instead, they leaned in. The Republic appeared progressive, confident, stable enough to allow freedom. 2 years later, the palace gardens were lit once again, but this time, not for secret conversations, for a wedding. Foreign flags stood beside Orreston's own. Diplomats attended not out of obligation, but celebration. President Rahman watched his daughter walk forward, not as a political asset, but as a woman who had chosen her own path. Adam leaned closer and whispered, I don't feel foreign anymore. Aaliyah smiled softly. Because you're not. In a nation built on power, the greatest transformation did not come from contracts or production deals. It came from trust. And in the end, the Republic did not weaken because of love. It grew stronger.
If this story shocked you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to share this with someone who loves intense thrillers.